I'm Sam White. She, her, hers are my pronouns, and I am the director of Antigone, playing this February 17th through the 20th. And I have with me.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie. I am playing Antigone in Antigone, and I am a sophomore acting major.
Awesome. So I am excited to talk to you, Mackenzie, about this play, as we only have 3 more rehearsals left and we open this week on Thursday. It's really exciting being able to do this play. I was sharing for anybody that's watching with the cast and with the crew when we first started this process that I think Antigone is such an important play for the times that we're living in, especially when we think about all the things that we've sort of experienced in the last couple of years. I think it's really, I think Antigone, I think of it as a big hug for anybody who sort of experienced any type of grief, you know, specifically and really sort of tangibly speaking, I think for people who lost anyone during the pandemic and they weren't able to have you know, a funeral or memorial or any sort of ritual or tradition to say farewell to their loved ones. I think this is a really big hug, embrace for all those people. And so that's why I was excited about directing it, because of how relevant and tangible I think it is for the times. I wonder, Mackenzie, what was sort of the thing that makes you the most excited to play Antigone?
I've always wanted to play a woman who is this strong. And like, I think the rawness of Antigone was very attractive to me. And just her like perseverance and just sticking to what she believes in. And just, I like, even in like my daily life, I'm just like, if Antigone could do it, I could do it. And just like, she's like a role model. And she's just a woman that is seen, that is a very positive, has a very positive person that I can like look up to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, you know, this is a mini spoiler alert that speaks to what Mackenzie was just talking about. We've added a prologue to this particular production. And so the prologue, you'll see something really fantastic with shadow work at the beginning, but you'll also see a reference to other women who, like Mackenzie brought out, strong women over history who've impacted our life and times over the years, over the decades and over the centuries. And I think the thing that was so cool about your audition, Mackenzie, was that I could personally, as your audience member in the audition, as a director, could see that you related to that sort of strength or looked up to Antigone. And that's what made me want to cast you in the role, was that I think you looked at Antigone as being a real person. It wasn't a caricature of some ancient Greek play, you know, it was it was real, it was authentic, and it was a deeply connected audition. Because anytime I'm about to do a show and we have auditions, I go into it not knowing at all who's going to be cast as who. I have a vision, an overall vision for the play and for the work, but there's these big holes or voids in the vision because we don't know who's going to play who, you know, until we finish the audition process. So when we had the auditions for Antigone, there was a big gaping hole that needed somebody that could be authentic and real and who could resonate with the story for the audience that will see this, and who could portray a real person, even though the play was written in 441 BCE. And I knew the minute that I saw your deeply connected, authentic, dedicated, real audition that you were the perfect person to play Antigone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And so I wonder, is there any sort, like, is there I know it's a very short play, just to let everybody know, but it's action from scene to scene to scene to scene. Is there a particular moment in the play that was the most challenging, or the most sort of I don't know, the scariest moment? What was sort of a part of the play, without giving too much away, that sort of challenged you the most? Because it is a short play, but it's everything about it is big, you know?
Yeah, I would say like on my moments with Creon, I feel like were the hardest, because I had something that I needed everybody to hear, and I needed my point to be heard without seeming weak. And I think just having like everybody just like, it was even in the rehearsal room and on stage, like everybody, like all eyes were on me, and I needed to get this message across. And I think at first it was just like, this is very intimidating. This is scary, like playing Antigone, doing it, and also just me as an actor. So that was something that was really hard. But then once you really realize the circumstances and the stakes of this show and why she was fighting, it's very inspirational. And then I feel like I was kind of able to somewhat dive into that eventually. But yeah.
Well, I have to tell everybody that one of the most, and I'm not going to talk specifically because I don't want to, ruin the experience for everybody who's coming to see it. But there is one really intimate moment with Antigone when she's alone in a tomb, and I think that that particular scene is one of my favorite scenes in the play, because it really takes a lot to I think speak for that long and capture the attention and hold the attention of an audience. And I think that you do a really beautiful job with that monologue, and I can't wait for people to see it. And also, I want to note too, just for anybody who's watching, that Mackenzie and I didn't even notice, nor did we ever talk about, probably until the latter part of the rehearsal process, that this is the first time, I guess, for a UProd production where there's a Black director, that being me, and then there's a Black lead being Mackenzie. That wasn't something that was planned. It just sort of happened. I guess Zeus was wanting this to happen in this particular moment. And as somebody who's done a lot of things and been the first, that never really, I'm never trying to be the first of anything, or I just work. We just, as artists, want to work and do good work. But I think the thing that's most important, especially to point out during Black History Month, is that Black history is American history, everybody. And, we can qualify plays as being Black or white or whatever the case may be. But the thing that makes classical work, and when I speak classical, there's a lot of different types of classical. This is an ancient Greek classical play. There's Shakespeare. I think August Wilson is a classical writer. In this case, I'm talking about Greek classical. The thing that makes these stories by Sophocles, or this story by Sophocles, so relevant and so juicy is that whether you're Black, white, purple, green, blue, we all have experienced grief at some level. And, if you have a skilled artist like Mackenzie, then that sort of, those details, those sort of, they don't really matter, because these sort of go beyond the surface. They penetrate the skin and they go straight to the heart. And that's what makes Antigone such a beautiful story to tell. And the fact that Mackenzie and I ended up together on this project is completely by the fates of the theater gods. But I do think it's wonderful and exciting. And I wonder, Mackenzie, just in your sort of trajectory as an artist, have you done any sort of like ancient Greek classical plays or Shakespeare before? Where does this fall in line with your journey as an actor?
Yeah, I've done some. I talked to you about this, Sam. Yeah, I was in Oedipus, which is Antigone's dad. I was in his show. I was in that show, but I was in the chorus. So that was a learning experience for me as well, because the chorus and Greek shows are so important. But yeah, but this is like the first time that I've like had to dive into like the stakes are just so high in Greek work. So, but yeah.
It's really exciting then that you have done a Greek classical play before. I think the great thing about like Sophocles' writing, or even Shakespeare, and then people like August Wilson, I consider Dominique Morisseau to be like our Shakespeare of Detroit, or of Michigan, I'll say, for the whole state. The great thing is that I think about you that's really exciting is by the time you leave Michigan, you're going to have a really, really robust resume that runs the gamut from ancient Greek classical plays to modern and contemporary works. Where do you think, I know we can't see the future, but where do you think, how do you think you're going to look back on this experience when you graduate. What year do you graduate, Mackenzie?
I graduate in 2024, so in 2 years. Yes.
What do you think you're gonna think if you could see the future? What would you think about this play and the experience of doing this play?
Honestly, like I genuinely think this play has been such like a pivotal part in like my acting lessons career because I just have learned so much about myself. I've had to be strong. I've had to portray somebody strong. There's just so many things that I've just learned. And I feel like, honestly, wherever I end up, like, I can always go back to this moment. I can always talk about you, Sam, because you've been like one of the best directors I've had. And just like, I don't know, I think I'll reminisce a lot on it because I've been genuinely so happy in this experience. And I just feel like I've learned a lot about myself as an actor and as a person.
That's fantastic. Good, good. And thank you. Listen, I consider it an honor to be able to work with you, and twice. Because by the way, I worked with Mackenzie last academic year too on Romeo and Juliet. If you saw that, then she was one of the anchors who was sort of telling some of the information between scenes for our modern day Romeo and Juliet. Shout out to that cast and crew, because we didn't get to have the same process that we're getting for Antigone. But I think we all made a really wonderful film with that show. What else should I tell the people, Mackenzie? They need to come see this show. Come see this show. Okay. And I should say, Mackenzie, you think of something really good to say. I'm gonna while I say this. Just because it's Sophocles, just because it was written in 441 BCE, does not mean it's this like old historical museum piece that you're coming to see at the Mendelssohn Theatre. Not at all. It's fresh. It's been translated in a really exciting way by David Mulroy. There's so much movement in this play, so much abstract, beautiful movement. We do shadow work. Really gorgeous text. It's written in meter or with anapestic passages, just really beautiful content, and the actors are spectacular. There's 21 people on stage for 75 minutes. You want to see this play. What else should I tell the people, Mackenzie?
Yeah, all of what Sam said, and like shout out to the tech people, because the tech for this show is amazing. The costumes are amazing. It's like it's so aesthetically pleasing to watch, as well as everything that Sam said. And hopefully we're maskless. I think we'll be able to be. So you'll get to be able to see theater faces. So yeah.
Yeah, that's big. That's huge. You'll be able to see Mackenzie's face. I'm knocking on this wood table here at this hotel I'm staying at in Ann Arbor. And you'll get to see everybody's expressions and be in the world, because a lot of plays, not just here at the University of Michigan, but around the world, you've seen actors have to cover their faces. So that won't be the case, hopefully, on Thursday. Okay, good. I think we said a lot. Did I miss anything, Mackenzie? Did I miss anything?
I think you said everything you could have.
Okay, good. Well, I know I'm supposed to mention the days of the show. So it opens Antigone by Sophocles, translated by David Mulroy, directed by Sam White, starring Mackenzie Holley as Antigone, with 20 other amazing, fantastic, talented actors. Plays on. We open February 17th. I have to look on my computer. We open Thursday, February 17th at 7:30 at the Lydia Mendelssohn Theatre. Then the show also runs February 18th and February 19th at 8 o'clock. And then there's one matinee on Sunday, February 20th at 2 p.m. Come see Antigone. You don't want to miss it. Such a good show. Runs 75, sometimes 77 minutes, depending. It's beautiful, like Mackenzie said. And I think we've said it all. So
yes, come
we'll see you at the show.